gave my PG to papers, biding my time in the city beautiful Chandigarh. And I am here to share with you and interact with you on the engrossing topic of service tax VCE scheme. Our honest taxpayers put at a disadvantage. Now, Article 14 of the Constitution states that equality before law. The state shall not deny to any person the equality before the law or the prohibition of discrimination on any ground within the territory of India. Now you must be thinking why I am talking of the Constitution, when in fact the Convention is on service tax. But the fact lies in the constitutional compulsion of the provision of equality to all the citizens of India, where there should be complete absence of any discrimination. Having said this, let me take the topic of service tax VCE scheme. So, the first question arises, what is service tax VCE scheme? It is a fresh tax generating instrument which has been introduced by the Finance Bill 1314 by way of an amnesty scheme. And the scheme clearly states that any person may declare his tax dues in respect of which no notice or an order of determination has been issued prior to 1st October 2007. Now the question arises, what does tax due mean? The answer is, the term tax due means the service tax due or payable under the Service Tax Act for the period beginning from 1st October 2007 to 31st December 2012, but which has not been paid till 1st of March 2013. A close analysis clearly reveals that the tax dues does not include the interest, penalty and prosecution charges otherwise applicable under the Act. It means it provides immunity to the defaulters against all these aspects, such as interest, penalty, prosecution and other proceedings under the Act. It is in fact a big treat for the defaulters which has been hosted by the CBEC. The scheme has been introduced with the purpose to finance the fiscal deficit of the country and to boost the future service tax collections. Now the question arises, who are the people who can avail this scheme? The answer is, not everyone is eligible to avail this scheme. Only those persons to whom any notice or an order of determination has not been issued can avail this scheme. It means that a person who has filed his return and have disclosed his true liability but have not paid the same cannot avail this scheme and would have to pay a price for his honesty. Our Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, at the introduction of this scheme, stated that while there are 17 lakh tax assessees in India, only 7 lakh file returns. The rest of them have stopped filing returns, so they have to motivate them by introducing a scheme called Service Tax VCE scheme. But a shock do preside on hearing such a statement from the nation's finance minister. Is the government machinery so weak that it cannot even detect the tax defaulters? And if taken that it is so, then is it even 0.1% justified to give such an altruistic opportunity to the tax defaulters? Way back in 1998, the government of India had tried a similar kind of scheme called Kar Vivad Samadhan scheme or voluntary disclosure of income scheme. But at that time, the term tax dues included the interest, penalty and prosecution charges due or payable. It is interesting to note that in 1998 also, our finance minister was Mr. P. Chidambaram, and at that time he had promised that the government would not come out with such a discriminatory scheme in the future. But now he has changed the name of the scheme, but has brought about a deep-sea change in the very content of the scheme by not including the interest and penalty in the term tax dues. One should ask him surely that, is he justified in doing so and betraying the trust of the honest ones? An honest taxpayer would surely like to ask, would there be any scrutiny of the declaration made under this scheme? The answer seems to be no. Though the Commissioner has the power to declare the declaration as being false, but if and only if he has substantial reason to believe that it is false. Further, the scope of scrutiny has been limited by the introduction of the rule that once a clean chit is issued or after the expiry of period of 1 year from the declaration, no proceedings can be undertaken in respect of such declaration. I would say that the large-heartedness of the CPEC has finally been revealed. I would like to give a classic example on this topic. Let us take two persons. One is a Gandhian and the another one is a dishonest man. One is person A, person B. Person A is a very honest man. He always pays his tax dues regularly along with interest and penalty in case of any delay. On the other hand, person B is a dishonest man and has never filed his return. But now, he has opted for VCES scheme but has declared only 1 lakh rupees as his tax dues out of rupees 5 lakh. So, think who is at the advantage, but don't think about his justification because it is at par out with our understanding. It is surely a testing time for the honest persons. I assure you guys, if such schemes continue to prevail over time, everyone would start thinking, why should we pay our tax honestly? But guys, it is not the end of the benefits that the department is forwarding to the tax defaulters. They have tried to comfort them by allowing them the payment in 2 equal installments. 50% of the tax dues can be declared and paid by 31st December 2013 and the balance 50% can be paid by 31st March 2014. Isn't it the large-heartedness of the CBEC for sure? The department is comparing the opportunity to a laddu, which if the defaulters do not grab, would lead them escape nowhere. It is interesting to note the level of interest that the department is taking to promote the scheme among all the defaulters. The time is for the conclusion. Though the scheme appears to be very attractive for the dishonest persons, but the astonishment do arise among the honest ones. But I feel the honest ones should be proud that they have contributed to the national economy by paying their taxes honestly. The scheme though would increase the tax base of the country, but surely reflects the incapability of the government machinery to identify the tax defaulters and punish them. Efforts should be made to popularize the scheme even in semi-urban and rural areas so that maximum tax collection can be made. A conducive environment must be prepared so that dishonest persons can come forward and declare their tax dues so that they can live a tension-free life ahead. Instead of introducing such schemes, I would recommend to amend the present Service Tax Act so that no one can even think of not complying with the nation's tax laws. And most importantly, a final and honest promise of the Finance Minister must be sought that no such scheme would be introduced in the future. Thank you guys for listening to me so patiently. All the suggestions and queries are kindly invited at rj96@gmail.com. And wishing all of you a very happy new year ahead. Thank you.